financial problems, elder law, criminal law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by THAV GROSS. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. Today's topic is the big questions and the myths of bankruptcy. Brian Small, the big question is, are you ready for this topic?
I am absolutely ready for the truth.
Yes.
Pat Samasco.
Good morning. How are you?
How do you like sitting in that chair, Pat? It seems to me that you're in a different spot than usual.
It's better here. It's better. It's my better side.
Congratulations on the new spot. Jeffrey
you.
Linden,
Thank
you're
you.
way down there.
Way
How
in
are
the
you?
morning,
Ken.
That's
Great
where
to see you.
that's where the good-looking people sit.
Hopefully those watching, some of you have seen the show before and you realize we've switched the order around and you can appreciate the nuance that's going on here. All right, so topic, big questions, myths of bankruptcy. Starting point, 3-point retirement plan. Own your home free and clear, have zero debt, and have some savings.
What a fantastic idea.
I use that every day in my appointments from that. That's what you want. That's what you want. Absolutely.
I mean, for me, the root history on coming up with those 3 points was my father. As my father got to 85, he did not own his home. He was renting. He had a car lease payment, plus between that and what they would charge him for auto insurance, because they rip off the elderly on auto insurance. It was insane. And he was paying $350 to $400 a month on his credit cards.
Apparently, he didn't watch the show.
He did watch the show, and he had breakfast with me every morning, Sunday morning, where we discussed it. He did not listen, or he did not obey, because I was the son and he was the father. But his situation.
You know what?
But
you make a
here's
good
the
point there. Old school. When you're talking about a group, there's a whole generation out there that feels like they shouldn't take advantage of opportunity that exists to get themselves out of debt, and instead they sit and they suffer financially. So that's what we're trying to educate our watchers.
I totally agree, but I just want to go back to something that we talked about before the show started today. The larger font on the outline doesn't mean to speak slower. So when you want to make those points, go for it, Brian. Just because the clock is ticking.
The dramatic pause.
So anyway, the point on the 3-point retirement plan that I was saying with my father was he was living on a VA benefit and Social Security. If he owned his house free and clear, had zero debt, and a little bit of cash in the bank, he would have been fine. But where he was at is his Social Security and VA benefit didn't cover the rent, the car payment, the insurance, and the credit cards. And this is an attainable result. It's not you got to have $2.8 million in the bank to retire. I mean, that's a nice thing for some people, and it's a good goal. But if you want to live comfortably, where you can pay your bills, you don't have to worry about borrowing from your children, you don't have to worry about getting evicted, you have enough money to buy some gifts for your grandchildren. That's what the 3-point retirement plan is about.
That myth, though, you talk about the myth, and the house and the mortgage people don't want to pay off the mortgage because they have this myth, I want to have an interest, I want to pay interest so I can get a deduction on my tax return, and that is completely
people
baloney.
Don't understand that paying $1 to save 30 cents doesn't make sense.
You got to start early though with that. You can't just pay it off tomorrow. You got to start early.
There's another one I'm paying off the house. I paid off my house, and I accelerated my payments to do that. And I said to myself while I was doing it, maybe I should have put that money in the market. because the market was going really well.
Right.
And the interest on the mortgage was only 3.5%, 3.25%. But then I realized after I did it is, had I done that, all the money would have been sitting in the market, and it would be down 28% right now, or 22% had I done it, and I'd be really like hit myself in the head because I'd still have the mortgage payment.
You figuring that out is great. The trouble is when your financial advisor comes in and says, why don't you get a home equity loan, or you're going to buy a house, and instead of selling this house and putting all the money on the next house, get a loan and we're going to invest the difference. Never.
Not a good idea.
Run as fast as you can.
Do not go in debt to invest money.
Absolutely correct.
Completely.
Absolutely correct.
And margin calls on stock. What do you think about? Do people still do margin?
You know what? I don't get into that. That's above my pay grade. I deal with the typical mom and dad and grandparents, and they don't want to mess with that.
To me, it's gambling. It's
Yeah.
gambling. So here's the big question. The big question is, how do I get there? How do I make the 3-point retirement plan work, and how do I attain it? So, case study: Bill and Mary, $80,000 in credit card debt, $60,000 in back taxes, $20,000 in medical bills. They're making $90,000 a year, net take-home pay $7,600 a month, with their expenses, mortgage payment, everything else. But when you take the tax payment on the taxes, the payment on their credit cards, the payment on their medical bills, right now they're negative $2,700 a month. That's why the credit cards have gone to where they are. And the question for Bill and Mary is, oh, great, Ken, Pat, Brian, Jeff, 3-point retirement plan sounds great. But if I'm negative $2,750 a month in my budget, how do you think I'm going to pay off my house, have zero debt, and have some cash and savings in the bank?
Well, they're going to file a Chapter 13 because they're really not negative $2,750. What they are is shelling out $3,500 or so towards the IRS and the credit cards and the medical bills. I can fix it with Chapter 13 so that $750 fixes the whole problem.
So they'll give you $750 and you make all the problems go away?
$750 a month for probably 3 years, because if they're a family of 4, they're going to be below median income.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, explain this.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirschner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP.
I was married for 57 years before my husband died.
Simasco Law had established a trust for them before this happened.
There's so much to do in the beginning, but after about a month, you're kind of alone.
We deal with estate planning and trusts every day.
If you continue to have good support and know that your finances and your estate is in order, that's one thing that's so comforting. I would just highly recommend some Masco Law.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP.
All right, so we're back. So I wanted you to kind of walk us through this.
So assuming that Bill and Mary are a family of 4.
Wait. They are a family of 4. Their 2 children, Rich and Steve, are 16 and 14.
That's how it happened in my family. I went from a family of 4 to a family of 5 like that, just about as quick.
Just when I stepped right
Oh,
through
it woke my butt
So
up.
it turns out here, when we look at their situation, you've got a...
Silent the computer. Go ahead.
When we look at their situation, we've got a... the facts are that the only debt out of all of them, the medical bills, the taxes, and the credit cards, the only debt that's important to pay back is the IRS. And so we, in a 3-year program, can set the 2 of them up to repay only the income taxes and get rid of all of the credit card debt and all of the medical bills. And when they come out on the backside of the bankruptcy, they're debt-free. They can continue to work on owning their house because they're going to continue to pay their mortgage payment.
And they'll be putting away $750 a month.
And they'll have $750 positive cash flow each month, which obviously is not going to get them rich.
Well, but by then their wages will be higher.
Well, and
But
that also depends on when the taxes were and what the taxes are, because there might be other opportunities where they don't have to pay back the taxes, and we can get rid of those either through bankruptcy or through other collection alternatives and save them additional money depending on how those
True,
taxes
but
became
if you take
owed.
the fact that they're going to have a $750 amount of money that they can afford to pay in every month, and that's the key. It's what they can afford on after you take their income and subtract their allowable expenses. What's left over? In their case, it'll be $750. 750 times 36, because that's 3 years. Boom, that's what they repay to their creditors.
Right, so
it doesn't matter whether or not it goes to the IRS or to the credit cards or the hospital bills or
But
or
that's
their
all
past
great.
due mortgage payments or anything.
That's great, but you just kind of jumped into this Chapter 13. They can't file a Chapter 7?
So in this
And just
case,
get rid of the credit card debt, get rid of the taxes, get rid of the medical bills, then they don't have to
Get
pay
rid of the
$750 a
4th
month.
kid.
so they have
Get rid of Rick and Steve.
well, they can open market. There is no market for selling children at this point, unfortunately. But I tried. But
So
mine
why-
are 26 and 23.
just
You can't
keep
sell them
coming
anymore.
back
I don't-
home.
Yeah, they keep finding the address. I know.
Actually, they contacted me and they wanted to sell you.
Yeah, that's fine. When you have excess income over your expenses, you may or may not be forced into a Chapter 13 as your opportunity in bankruptcy, depending on how large or small the amount of money
So if they
is.
didn't have this extra $750, then you could throw them into a Chapter 7?
If they didn't have the extra $750, they could have been a Chapter 7. That's correct.
So maybe they just had to reduce their income and not work overtime or something?
Yeah, but at the end, though, they still might be stuck then with $20,000 or some of the back taxes. It depended on how much.
But then we could go over to Jeff and you might be able to do an offer in compromise and get rid of the taxes.
Right.
Yeah, depending on their circumstances.
I mean,
and-
So here's the point. We went to the big question, and for this couple and this family, for Bill and Mary, the question is how do they start working towards the 3-point retirement plan when they're already in debt? And the answer is you get out of the debt. You use a Chapter 13 or you use a Chapter 7 and you use tax procedures to get rid of taxes so that you get rid of that debt, and then you start, your cash flow's positive, and then you're paying off the house because you're not behind on the mortgage, you're not accumulating any debt, and you're putting some money away, $750 a month. You know, $750 a month over 20 years
Is a lot of
is
money.
a lot of money. You know, if you think, well, so what's good is $750 a month going to do me for 6 months? Well, it's still, it's still
I think
$4,200.
a good
but
point on this is you got to take responsibility for yourself. And what we see so much in the office is they go borrow the money from their parents. And when they borrow the money from the parents, they ain't never paying that back. So when you get into that,
And they borrow the money from
hole-
their parents, and they pay off their credit cards,
Yeah.
and then they run their credit cards back
Yeah.
up.
And yet
Or-
they're borrowing from their own inheritance. Is
Well,
what they're
no,
doing.
they're really not. They're borrowing from their brothers and sisters' inheritances. Because when mom and dad die, they conveniently forget about how I borrowed the money and mom and dad gave me the money. So it just gets you in a deeper
Yeah, that-
hole and a deeper hole.
I
and
think
a
that's true, because
deeper
when
hole.
we're doing estate plans, so often that issue comes up, and they all just forget about it. You know, either the husband says forget about it, or the wife says forget about it, because the children aren't there. The one who didn't get the money isn't saying don't
Yeah.
forget about it.
Yeah.
Right.
But when it comes to
The
time
other
to
thing
doing
is,
it,
a lot of times it's the wife saying forget about it and the husband doesn't want to. It's the wife that's been feeding the money to that same kid ever since they were in high school, and they've been, keep going back to the bucket and get more money and more money and more money. But the point is, be responsible for your own debts and get out of the hole yourself with using guys like you.
and that's where your
Pat keeps
budgeting
his
comes
extra
in,
money
too.
in a bucket in the house.
Well, I
just
will
so
tell you
everybody
that
knows.
Jeff sounds way smarter sitting at this side of the table than he does here. So I think you really look good and sound good down there.
So you're trying to butter him up with
Kind of.
flattery approach
Absolutely.
to get out
Way
of
worse.
trouble. Okay.
Versus what they do, yelling at each other
All
all
right,
day.
so let's talk about the myths of bankruptcy. Myth number 1, you will never get credit again if you file for bankruptcy.
Is that true?
No.
Really? I swear, I thought I heard you never get credit again if you file bankruptcy.
No, that's me. I'll never get credit again. But most people
Okay, actually, you get credit again.
Because you're the cooler.
can. Right.
The day your discharge issues, literally in the metropolitan area, if you're making $150 a week and you have a discharge into bankruptcy, you can walk into a car dealership and get credit for a car and walk out the door with a car. You will get credit card offers within 3 months of filing your bankruptcy. While you're still in bankruptcy, you'll get credit card offers.
Let's come to a break. When we come back, I want to say, is that such a good thing? We'll be back after the break.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP. If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
We were just spinning. We just didn't know what was going to happen next.
At Samasco Law, we deal with these issues every day, especially elder law. Pat went to work for Fran.
Patrick was there holding my hand, kept saying, we'll get through this, we'll get through this.
He got her husband Medicaid and in a nursing home. Samasco Law got the success they deserved.
Samasco Law is definitely family to me. I really appreciate knowing all of you.
Pat was recommended by a friend who insisted that we really needed a trust. And he said, I know somebody who will do a good job for you.
At Samasco Law, we deal with estate planning and trusts every day.
We had excellent service from Samasco Law. Any questions we had were addressed. Our estate is in order, and it had been set up so well that nothing needed to be done. I would just highly recommend Samasco Law.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Time for announcements. So I remind our viewers to listen to us for Law and Reality Live on the Praise Network, Tuesdays 10 o'clock a.m., Saturdays 7 o'clock a.m., and on KISS 105.9, Sundays 7 o'clock a.m. Remember, you can always come in for a free consultation. Just call our offices, 888-235-HELP, or go online, and there's boxes to click to sign up for a free consultation. Debt issues, tax issues, estate planning issues, business issues, elder law issues with Pat or Jim Samasco, disability issues with Jeff Kirshner. Sign up at lawandreality.com or call 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Also, go online, check out the free reports, Resolving Tax Problems, The Real Solutions by myself and Jeff Linden, Bankruptcy, Is It Right for Me by Brian Small, How to Save Your Home from Foreclosure, Business Formations, Loans and Grants for Small Businesses in Detroit and Michigan, and The Retiree's Guide to Social Security from Pat Samasco. I want to thank our sponsors, THAV GROSS, Samasco Law, Kirshner Law. Now back to the show.
You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirshner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP.
So we're back. So the question that I was going to ask is, was it such a good thing that all of a sudden, you file bankruptcy, you get credit? I don't want you don't want to go back into credit card debt.
You don't, but you still may wish to accomplish certain things in life, like buying a house if you don't own one. And so most people don't pay cash for
and
a
having
house.
a credit card so that you could travel and
for
put the hotel.
I got a
emergencies.
question for you. So everyone comes in, they always say the exact same thing. Don't worry, Brian, I'm never going to get back into credit card debt problems. What percentage do you think of the people that you help out and get out of this nightmare that they're faced with actually stay out of the nightmare, or do they just
I
fall
actually
back
believe
in?
most of the people stay out of the nightmare. They really do. It's nobody wants to file bankruptcy twice. You can. There's another myth, I can never file bankruptcy ever again.
Yes.
But the fact is you can file Chapter 7 every 8 years. You can file Chapter 13 and get a discharge every 4. You can file one Chapter 13 after another if you need to, because it's not dependent upon discharge. The key is that we would rather have you do it once, but you can utilize that tool more than once.
You know, as a criminal lawyer, when I was, the law kind of did the same thing. They allow you to be dumb once. You know, you can get a drunk driving once and it won't ruin your life. You get another one, you're in trouble. Or if you act,
Actually,
traffic
filing
ticket or
bankruptcy
something.
twice doesn't ruin your credit forever either. It'll show as 2 life events within 10 years. It does make it slightly more difficult to get credit, but lenders, one of the
There is
myths,
another myth. Lenders will ignore you if you file for bankruptcy.
but they won't, because you are now a good credit risk. If you have
because you can't file for
you
another
have
8 years.
income and you've eliminated
Zero debt.
the mistakes of the past, you are now a good credit risk. You may get a higher interest rate your first time round, but you will get credit again.
All right, here's two that I really like. I found these Googling around. People who file for bankruptcy are stealing and may go to jail.
Okay. We got rid of debtor's prison, I think, in the 1600s.
So before the United States.
Yeah.
But you never know. It might be coming back in the United States because you never know.
But that's born out of that mentality of, well, I made this deal I promised to pay, and it's morally wrong of me to not pay it back.
But
bankruptcy's wrong.
It's morally wrong to allow yourself to stay in debt and hurt your future and your family
right.
than it is to take steps. Your moral obligation is to yourself and your family.
100%
and to look out
correct.
and protect
I
them.
look at the morally wrong as a credit card company charging a 24%
Right,
interest
but
rate.
those
Holy
are
mac.
perspectives that
Yeah.
are not taught to
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. We get the same thing with the elder law stuff, doing Medicaid planning. They don't want to take advantage of the Medicaid rules because they think it's morally wrong. It's not.
It's funny because one of
Next
the things
one. Let me give you another one. Bankruptcy will destroy your credit score.
Bankruptcy will temporarily reduce your credit score. And then, once the bankruptcy is over, your credit score, just like an open wound that gets sutured at the hospital, will heal. It may take some time, but it will heal. And it will get better and better and better. And usually I find that my clients, 24 months after their bankruptcy is done, have a credit score in the mid 700s.
But Brian, in reality and practice, if
That
you're
is reality.
alternate reality, in practice, if you're in a position where you're really need and eligible for a bankruptcy, your credit score is probably not that good.
No,
Good
that's
point.
a very true statement.
All right, another one. All right, because we're down to a minute left for the show. Most people do not qualify for bankruptcy because of the means test.
That's not just not true. Most people do qualify.
Okay, that's it. All right, some creditors are immune from bankruptcy and can still sue you.
That's actually true. There are certain creditors
Who?
that student loans are generally non-dischargeable if you don't pay them. You've got child support creditors, alimony creditors. Other than that, for the most part, unless you commit fraud, they're dischargeable.
You cannot file bankruptcy by yourself if you're married.
That is absolutely not true. You absolutely can file bankruptcy. You don't.
And the last one, filing bankruptcy is very difficult and could result in an audit.
Filing bankruptcy is very difficult, which is why you need a qualified attorney to assist you.
But it's not any difficult process to go
It isn't
through.
going to get the IRS to audit you, though.
Have a great week. We'll be back next week with Law and Reality.